Hello, everyone out there in podcast world. You're listening to the Service Business Mastery Podcast. I'm your host, Tersh. My goal in this podcast is to ask the unasked questions. So we focus on serving the small business owner, the service manager, a service technician who is considering becoming business owner himself. We scour the globe to find the absolute best guest to come on this podcast. It's not your normal guest that you're going to hear on every other episode of every other popular podcast. And we do that on purpose. We really want to get that little golden nugget that you might not hear anywhere else. So today's episode is an awesome one, as usual. I know you're probably tired of hearing me saying that, or maybe it's a running joke with you, just like it is with me. Today's episode, it's really cool for all of you listeners out there who are just starting your business or you're considering starting your business, which you know that's what the Service Business Mastery Podcast is for. It's for those service business owners, managers, and technicians who are considering becoming business owners themselves. We're here to ask the unasked questions and hopefully provide resources to you as a new business owner that will help you out and be successful in business. So that's exactly what today's episode is. Jake Gibson with Phyxter Pro, their entire program focuses strictly on the new entrepreneur, the new business owner, the small business owner, and they've built their entire platform around that. And the episode today, you're going to listen in on a conversation that Jake and I had. It was basically a phone conversation that we had. He knew that we were recording it so that we could share it. But I was honestly asking tons of questions because it super piqued my interest as a small business owner and a relatively new business owner. Heck, I've only been in business since last year. But I really wanted to know, honestly, I wish that this program was out back when I started my business. I would have used it. I would have jumped right on it. And I'm not saying that I won't jump on it now. It's super perfect for a small business that's just starting out. Anyways, I'm obviously super excited about it, but I want to share this episode with you, and I want you to listen in on all of the really cool things that Phyxter Pro is doing now and is doing in the future, and they're planning on doing for the small business owner. If you have any questions, please reach out to me, Tersh at icebound.us. And then, as you know, everybody that's been testing out the autoresponder that I have, it's been great so far. So listen in and let's check out this episode here with the Jake Gibson from Phyxter Pro. Jake, hey man, welcome to the show. Have you listened to the podcast any?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
I started listening to it a little while back. I try to, it's great because you've got a lot of episodes, so you can kind of, scroll through and find an episode that, piques your interest in a certain area and listen to that. And,
Exactly.
oh yeah.
That's kind of like a problem that I had. I never anticipated, I didn't start to fail, but I didn't start to succeed. I don't feel like either, because the way that I've labeled things in the past, the episodes, sometimes they're more difficult to figure out exactly the message that was shared on the episode. So it's like, today's episode's with so-and-so, but it's like, okay, but what is it about?
Yeah. That's fair. It's well, one of the things that I've liked to do when I started my business, and this is what got me into listening to your podcast, was I started the business, and if we had a problem or I needed to figure something out, I would go and research and try to find a book or try to find some sort of resource that could help me. And I'd find a book, and I wouldn't read the whole book. I'd go to the chapter I needed to solve that problem.
Yeah.
Educate myself, solve the problem, and move on till I hit another problem. And then maybe I got to buy another book, or maybe the answer's in that last one.
That's exactly what I did with the business side. And I started with a podcast, and then first I listened to the E-Myth Revisited, and then I heard about podcasts. And so I Googled the E-Myth podcast, and nothing popped up, but a few people like Entree Leadership popped up. And I was like, oh, let me listen to this one. And then, like, exactly like you said, and as soon as they mentioned something, I'd go and research a different podcast or book, and I'd go listen to that. And then it dove me down into a rabbit hole.
Which are fun, but next thing you know, quite a bit of time's gone
Oh
by,
yeah,
right?
absolutely.
One of the reasons that I really like listening to the podcast is because, like, our target market for our customers are your target market, but we're a software application that helps them and do different things. But one of the things I really like to do is find value or find something that we can share and just say, hey, like, you're a small business owner, or you want to start a business. We've got these things that can do stuff for you, but you should educate yourself as well. And here's some great resources that you can use, right? And that's one of the things where when I'm listening to your podcast, it's, hey, this would be really great for somebody starting their business, this episode, or this, we've got customers that have a problem in a particular area. Hey, this episode might be cool.
I appreciate that. I'm glad that there's actually a value out there, and it's not just me jabbing.
yeah,
I
it's
can
always
I can
nice, right?
blab a lot, so yeah. My wife tells me to shut up sometimes, but then she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry for saying shut up."
That's nice. That's nice of her. But then she's like, no, really, shut up.
Yeah, but seriously, like, close your mouth because you're done talking.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah.
So what is the software that you have?
Yeah. So I've got, so like I said, I spent maybe 8 years on the tools in HVAC, and I never ran my own business, but I thought about it. And the reason I didn't decide to do it was my brother is a concrete forming carpenter. And my father, when he was still around, was in road construction, had his own road construction business.
Okay.
And they were small businesses, but really, working hard and great at what they do, like, great craftsmen, but not business people.
Mhm.
And struggling, long hours, the stereotypical
Oh,
starting a
yeah.
business and how difficult it is.
You're wearing all the hats,
Yeah.
trying to do everything till 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. So when I thought about doing it, I said, you know what, before I do this and stress myself out, put myself in the grave, or whatever you want to say, I was like, I'm going to go out and I'm going to get some experience. And I moved into sales, thought that would help. And then I
Mhm.
figured I'd try to get into management, and that'd give me some new experiences. And doing like the same thing we talked about earlier with the books. I've got a problem.
Yeah.
I go figure out how to solve it. And that's a lot of the reason why I would end up getting promoted into jobs, because I would be honest. I'd say, I don't know what I'm doing, but I guarantee I'll figure it out.
Be a problem solver.
Yeah. So as I moved into management, I took a role down in Utah that was managing the sales team for this large equipment manufacturer, and we were a direct service model. So we manufactured all the equipment, not in Utah, but we also sold the services for that equipment.
Okay.
And the service branch wasn't profitable.
As most are. That's the way it is with, like, 99% of the time. It's like your service department is your loss leader, and then they get your leads in for system
Yeah.
replacements, and then you make money on your
Yeah.
replacements.
Yeah. And exactly. And it was just so. And so this was a large business. We were doing about 600 million a year in sales,
Hmm.
and about 300 of that was in service, like a 50-50 split. And I was just like,
Wow.
man, that is so much money to not be profitable.
Right.
I was like, I've got to dive into this and figure out what's going on.
Okay.
And it was the same things that a small business would be having
Mhm.
problems with. And that's when I started researching into it. And I'm like, these problems are the same for everybody. There's got to be a way that technology could help with that, or automate certain pieces, or provide insight at a time point when you need that insight.
Mhm.
And anyways, I wrote this business plan and the application has changed. I wouldn't say significantly, but slightly since I wrote the original business plan. And my original idea was this artificial intelligence business partner that
Mhm.
helped you with what should I do here, right? Or if you're using it to do your quoting and invoicing, and you're using kind of historical trends or industry standards on pricing, like most people, they're like, oh, I need to drop my price so I can get this job. It's like, no, like you need to be profitable. And it would give that alert or that kind of behavioral cue, that red flag to say, you drop your price, there's almost no point in taking that job.
Yeah, okay, that's really cool. So it's like it gives this, like you said, red flag, and it's like blaring lights, like, "Hey, at this point, you may as well just stay home because you're losing money on this job."
Yeah. Yeah. So a great example I like to use is I won't name the person, but somebody I know really closely started their business, and they were sending quotes out, and they were winning like 90% of the jobs. And they were
That's not a
so
good rate. That's
exactly right. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, you're gonna go bankrupt if you're not making any money. And that's what happened is they got burned on a job, and they
Mm,
didn't have the cash to cover it. And next thing you know, they're fighting bankruptcy.
yeah.
And it was that simple thing of understanding, is that 90% win rate good or bad? And it's bad, right? You should be within a certain, say, 40 to 70%, depending on a lot of different variables. But you want a lowest win rate possible, but staying busy so you're
Yeah.
as profitable as possible. But so what we've been doing is trying to build this massive platform into this simple little app that's geared at startups,
Mhm.
skilled trades startups, right? It's not a big, QuickBooks or a big platform where you're going to be doing payroll for all kinds of employees. It's just to get you off the ground
Mhm.
and get you, in a sense, educated as well. Like every time you do something, it's saying, hey, yay, good, or red, bad, and helping you make those things. And then you start to recognize, hey, like when I listen to this thing, I'm making more money, and I'm still busy, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and this works. And that's our whole concept, is to be that business partner.
So how does that how does it work? Like, how do you is it, attached to a CRM, or is it in place of a CRM? Or, like, I'm thinking to myself,
Yeah.
if you're having to do
So
double entry stuff, it like, people may have
th-
show resistance to that.
yeah, so we're trying to replace everything and put it all into one spot, but we're starting small. Like right now, the way the platform is, and our concept was, let's get on people's phones and help them with something that is a problem. And what we did is we built a marketplace in a sense, and really it's just a chat app that connects trades guys to their suppliers.
Okay.
But what it does is it connects you to all nearby suppliers and allows you to check the box beside, say, 5 suppliers.
Mhm.
And they're all different suppliers, but it's all based on proximity. So that the first supplier on the list is the closest one to your location. And you check the box beside 5 of them, and you say, hey, I'm looking for a Venner motor for a train furnace, this model, whatever, and hit send. And it goes to those 5 suppliers. They get the notification. They check their inventory. Well, you're going back to work, right? You're doing stuff, and then you get these notifications coming in saying, yes, we've got it in stock. You know how far away they are, and you know how much they charge now. So now you can make that decision for your business, that one, you're not spending, if you live in a metropolitan area, 45 minutes driving there because you're buying
Yeah.
from the closest supplier. You're getting competitive prices because the wholesalers now know they're competing being on this platform, right? And you're finding the part. I mean, if you're in the service industry working the evenings or the weekends or anytime, you want that part as fast as possible so you can get the job done and move on to the next one.
Gotcha. So, I guess that opens up, I think, 3 or 4 questions instantly in my mind. Um, First is after hours. You mentioned, after hours and weekends. Are you seeing that the vendors are responding at that time?
So what we've done is when the vendor creates their profile,
Uh-huh.
they mark in there whether or not they put their hours of operation, as well as enabling being on call. So when you go into our contact list of wholesalers, you're not going to send a message to somebody that doesn't show being on call or
Okay.
open,
Okay.
right? So the ones that are showing that are responding. Now, we're also a brand new app, so we're really only focused in this one initial area that we're in. But obviously our goal is to we made it that this portion of the app's completely free. So we're like, hey, contractors, service companies, use this and help yourself save time. But there's no real value in it until we get wholesalers on in your area. So
Yeah,
so our hope is that they go to their wholesaler and say, hey, this is going to help me save time if you're on this, and it doesn't cost you anything.
that's what I was going to say. So, are you finding that vendors are being willing to be on it? And I guess how long have you had the app out? Like, what kind of success are you finding with it?
Yeah, so we've only been out for 2-3 months now,
Okay, that's what I
and
thought.
yeah, and we've got like in the Toronto, where I'm in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, right? And we've got probably about 90 wholesalers now signed up, and I think we've got maybe 600 or 700 app users. So it's
Okay,
it's
and that they're mainly in the Toronto area right now.
yeah,
Most of your users.
we're seeing some people like sprinkled across Canada and the U.S. that are downloading the app, or wholesalers that are jumping in, and Pennsylvania or something like that. Like random people are finding us and downloading it, but we're trying to keep our message really honest and saying, hey, we're brand new. Have your expectations should be really low. Like if you're a supplier getting this, sign up and forget about it. Right? You don't have to monitor it, because as soon as somebody downloads the app in your area and actually sends you a message, we send that wholesaler an email saying, hey, you got a guy on Phyxter waiting for an answer. Click this link to sign in and reply.
Okay, and it's May 22nd now, so about 2 months ago is whenever y'all first went live with this in 2019. If somebody happens to hear anything about this
Yep.
in 10 years, who knows?
Hopefully they do, right?
Right. And it's called Phyxter Pro, and it's not Fix.
No, no, we spelled it really different, because we wanted people, if they do search it, we're the only thing that shows up, and it's spelt with P as in Paul, Hyx, T as in Tom, E as in Edward, R.
Your goal is to eventually have it so that you're able to have some sort of coaching guidance
Mhm.
type stuff. When's your goal for that? Are you eventually going to like put links to podcast episodes or YouTube videos or something like that? Or is it going to be like straight input data and then exput good or bad?
So what we do is so like the next release that we're doing is where we start helping with quoting and invoicing
Okay.
automation. I mean, as a small business, like I don't know how many people are like, hey, can you, as the consumer, hey, can you send me that invoice? And you're like, yeah, I'll get to it, and you
Mm-hmm.
forget to send it. So we automate all those things. So that's what's going to come out next, and that's within probably 4 months. We'll be doing that. But when that AI business partner, if you will, comes out, which we're talking a year plus for that.
Okay.
When we do that, when we show them, hey, you've done something and it's bad, we give them here's what you could have done, and then here's a resource to, if you want to educate yourself a little further on why this would be good or other ways to do it. And that's where we would then offer something like a particular podcast episode.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. Are you thinking that because the question that I get a lot and I see it a lot is, um, how do I figure out my prices? Like, how do I know what my fully loaded labor rate is? Like, how am I supposed to set up my flat rate service pricing? How do I know if I'm making money? Obviously, you have to be attached to some sort of like know your profit and loss sheets and your see your balance sheet type stuff in order to figure those numbers out. But um, are you going to have some sort of feature like that built into it too, or?
So that's a tough one, because
I know, that's
be-
what I was thinking too.
because every business, and in a sense, should be run based on who they are, what type of business they want to run. So I think what we want to do there, again, as if you're a good business partner, and I'm your business partner, but I'm virtual, I'm just going to say, hey, here's some different resources or information that you could use to make that decision, right? So this is where
Okay.
we'll promote, say other resources or businesses or podcasts to say, hey, before you make this decision on what type of business you want to run, here's some
Mhm.
stuff you should look at to make that decision.
Cool.
And then once they make that decision and start putting data into our app,
Mhm.
the way the AI works in a sense is it uses everybody's data
Mhm.
in a sense in a region, right? So locally, because working in one
Gotcha.
part of the US versus another, if you're charging X amount per hour versus the other side of the country at a much higher rate or lower rate, it's not fair to compare. But that regional comparison is where we'll start to say, hey, you're undervaluing yourself in your area and with your expertise.
Oh yeah, I like that. So there's an app out there that's a flat rate, and they developed from a flat rate price book. It's called Coolfront.
Hmm.
There it's a good program. Uh, but some of their conferences you go to, and they'll tell you, okay, this is the national average of what you should be charging, and then they'll see that number. They're like, no, there's no way I could charge that in my area. But
Hmm.
they're like what you mentioned, like they get so much flat rate information from people in every area that they know, even though it's like if you're in Savannah, Georgia, like me, they know that, you should be charging over $100 an hour. You should be charging, close to $200 an hour for your service
Hmm.
department. And then, you go up to upstate New York and they're like, okay, you should be closer to $400 an hour or something like that. I don't know what their number is, but,
Hmm.
you know, because like you said, you see so much stuff. So I really like that idea, and that concept completely. Um, with the coaching side of the things and the partner side of things, AI, like I'm not asking how you did it or anything like that, but to is it going to be up to date? Like, is AI going to be constantly searching the web for this information, or is this something like I feel like it's going to be painstaking for you if you have to like think of every possible scenario of when the AI may need to help somebody.
Yes. So, I mean, one, I'm not the AI guy. I have a business.
Come on now.
Yeah,
Now, as soon as we figure out that you're the AI guy, I'm just
yeah,
going to start asking you questions.
yeah, yeah. But that's my business partner and other smarter people than myself. But anyways, it basically is going to use a data set, right? Like everything in AI is going to be based on data, and that data
Okay.
set grows over time. And as it grows over time, it gets more powerful and gets smarter, and provides better feedback. So originally, when we first launch it, it's not going to be the smartest AI, but we'll be using more historical data that
Uh-huh.
we will actually go and, in a sense, mine ourselves, get
Okay.
this data, input it in. That's going to be basically training it,
Mhm.
and then once it's trained and people are using it as they put things in, it's going to be very manual for us in a sense in the first part of making sure
Yeah.
we're getting
I
the
could only
data.
imagine.
Yeah,
That's gonna
it
be so manual.
it will be painstaking, but that's the passion project, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, totally. I mean, just like this podcast, like, I don't make a penny off this podcast, but I do it every Wednesday, and it's just the passion portion of it. Totally get um, how much should I expect to pay for it once it does go live? I know that it could change a lot over a year whenever you go to releasing it and everything, but kind of ballpark figure, what's your goal for charges?
So the one of the things we're really trying to do is keep it as risk free as possible. So you're not investing in something that you're not using or seeing value in. So we're doing a lot of different things that are additional services to try to fund the business.
Okay.
So, for example, we'll be offering very soon a reputation management software for
Okay, cool.
companies, right? We'll be offering website building
Okay.
capability that's specific to skilled trades, right? You go into a standard website builder and you've got it's for photography or different
Mhm.
types of businesses, but we're going to be
Or
doing it.
something where like you're trying to sell something on the website and there's like,
Yeah.
okay, delete that, delete that, delete that, delete that, like pretty much restart the whole website.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So we're going to be doing it for the skilled trades industry. So we'll be selling those things to try to pay for this
Gotcha.
application. Now, what we do get into down the road, and where we can make money from the app is that business partner is in a sense scheduled, but we're planning for that to be completely free. And then where we do get into is the customer acquisition piece, like the Uber for skilled trades type stuff. So you're
Yeah.
using this, you're running your business, fine.
Cool.
We don't care if we make anything.
Yeah.
We may bring a customer and say, hey, do you want this customer?
Mm-hmm.
And then we would take a percentage of that transaction
Okay.
if that was successful and you won the job and got paid.
Now, with that being said, are you going to have the service call go through Phyxter
Yeah,
or
the
okay.
service we would in a sense be marketing to
Okay.
the consumers,
Okay.
and just they would be, coming and finding you on our platform because we would again be placing you in front of them because you're nearby,
Mm-hmm.
you are in the specific trade that they require, you're say highly rated or whatever it might be, and you're available, because if we're helping you run your business, we know your calendar. So then we put you in front of them. They say, yeah, that person's perfect or that business is perfect. And we connect you. And in a sense, we're just connecting you. And then you communicate back and forth. Yeah, confirm the job.
Okay.
And that's how the transaction would happen.
So in when would that be available, do you think?
That we've got a beta version that's probably going to be available in about 6 to 8 months,
Okay.
but that'll be an early stage one. So
Okay.
full version,
Probably a year or so.
probably a year. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Just curious. I'm full of questions. When it comes to technology and running your business paperless, like it piques my interest a
Hmm.
lot. And I'm always looking for new ways to do exactly what you're describing. So, are you thinking that you will get into the CRM type of thing? Because it sounds like you're kind of moving that direction with the calls coming in through your program, and then like you like tracking it through there. I mean, obviously
Hmm.
not like a QuickBooks, maybe integration with a QuickBooks Online.
So to answer that, our website builders
Uh
will
huh.
come with a built-in free CRM. It'll be a light version again. Like we don't need to provide you with a big, massive one when we're targeting startups.
Yeah.
But there will be a built-in CRM to your website, and then there will be again kind of a similar light version in the mobile application.
Okay, cool. Perfect. So, I mean, it sounds like it's exactly what a startup needs. Did I already ask what it's going to cost? I don't remember.
Yeah,
Did I?
it's free. It's free.
Okay, it's free right now, and
Well,
eventually it's.
the websites aren't. That's how you're going to pay us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, and then the AI portion of it, is that going to be free too, or is that going to
Yes.
be? Oh, okay. So the whole app's going to be free once.
Yeah.
Okay. All
Yeah, the
right.
only place we make money through the app is the on two ends. So if we help you if we connect you with a supplier
Hmm.
and you purchase from them through the app, which is not required, but you could say in the chat, you could say, "Hey, send me the invoice. I want to pay through Fixter."
Okay.
Then when they attach the invoice to the chat and send it to you, you can hit like a pay now button,
Hmm.
and then you show up, it's prepaid, you don't have to wait in line, they got it packaged and ready for you, so you can just grab that from the supplier and go.
Hmm.
That's the concept. Now we take a transaction fee from the wholesaler on
Okay.
that, like a payment processing fee.
Okay.
And then on the other end, on the final phase of the application, when we connect you to a customer, we would take a percentage of that transaction. And again,
Yeah.
that's all optional, but we
Mm-hmm.
want to give you this meat and potatoes in the middle to say,
Mm-hmm.
hey, here, let's help you succeed. So, I mean, ideally for us, when you use the app to find parts, you're like, hey, let's try to help Fixter out a little bit
Mm-hmm.
and let's purchase through the app so they get a little bit of a
Yeah.
piece. And then when we send you a customer on the other end, maybe you accept the job, maybe you don't, but that's where we would get a piece as well.
Okay, cool. I like that. I like what you said there. So you're not getting charged even if you get it, but you can't close it. But
Mhm.
you're getting it. You're getting charged if you accept it, and then a percentage of that bill.
Yeah, you're only
Um,
ever paying if you
mhm.
get paid.
Gotcha. Perfect. I love that model because the current models suck. Is the best way to say it.
We've we did a fair amount of research on that.
We as business owners hate the current model,
Yeah.
and it's easy for someone else to get rich off of our expense as a small
Mhm.
business startup. So yeah, I totally dig that. that whole
We're
concept?
trying to be this company that says, hey, you know what? If you got to choose a website builder,
Hmm.
choose us. One, because we're trying, hopefully we're providing the best option for you, but choose us. And that's how you'll help support keeping all this other stuff for free and keeping those transaction fees. That end one where we find you the customer, I
Yeah.
don't know what that's going to be priced, but I want it to be as low as possible. But that's
Hmm.
going to depend on us running a business too. So if we're successful in these other things, the
Yeah.
lower that price will be.
Cool. So when will the website builder portion of it be available?
That we're actually hoping to have that up and live. It'll be a light version, but it'll be up and live within the next week.
Oh, okay.
The templates, the skilled trades templates that'll be on there will be light, but really June 15th is when we're hoping to have a decent quantity of skilled trades templates on.
Okay. And then are you doing SEO after the fact or just building the website?
That's to be determined, I guess, but
Okay. Just curious because
yeah.
people are going to ask me that, especially as soon as they hear this. So,
Yeah. What our goal there is, because we're a really small company, again, trying to run as lean
uh-huh.
as possible. What our goal there will be is to do the due diligence and find some good SEO people, like finding a
Mhm.
good podcast, right? And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
recommending that podcast and recommending or connecting that SEO specialist to our website clients.
Gotcha. Perfect. Cool. Simple enough. I like that. And do you have any idea what it's gonna cost to build a website? Because I know that I'll get asked that question too.
Well, so the website builder, the option is it's going to be extremely cheap, right? I think
Okay.
we're looking at around $14 a month
Okay.
for the base version, and then like $30 and like $60 as you grow. But
Okay.
so that monthly subscription for that website, but we want to keep it as inexpensive as possible. What I can say is there are some really cool technologies going into the website builder that I haven't seen in any other website builder to help kind of with that sales funnel, with that, that quick online purchase.
Yeah.
You want to sell a maintenance agreement.
Yeah.
That customer finds you, comes on your website. They look at the website agreement, the sales pitch, and they can put their credit card right on that same page and
Yeah.
purchase that from you.
Okay, so it'll have
Uh,
all of the built-in securities that you're required to have and everything
of course,
to
yeah.
collect all that. Cool. And then will they own the website or will it be something that you own, or how does that work? I don't know all of those legalities and terminologies and stuff like that, but I know that it's a conversation that I've heard.
So they own it, like the
Mhm.
domain,
Okay.
and the site, but they have to pay that hosting fee, right?
Okay,
And
that's what
and
that fee is a hosting
yeah,
fee? Okay.
yeah, and depending on the size of the site and the scale of the site, that's the increase in the hosting fee.
Okay, cool. That sounds simple enough.
Yeah.
It's over my head when it comes to that kind of stuff, but I kind of grasped that a little
We
bit.
will connect you similar to what we would do with an SEO specialist. So these templates will be there, and they'll be as thorough as possible to get you
Mhm.
going. And any, like, literally anybody could build one of these websites. If you really wanted to take it to the next level, we
Mhm.
could connect you with a website design specialist and an SEO specialist. But our goal is to say, hey, you know what? There's a significant amount of trades companies out there that don't even have a website because somebody wants
Mhm.
5 grand
At
or
least
10
5
grand to
grand,
build
yeah.
it,
Mhm.
right? Here's a good site to get you going. So
Mhm.
when somebody says, hey, do you have a website? Yeah, I've got this. And it's impressive and it's modern and it's quick and it's
It's not like
mobile.
that super like the Wix one that's like one page that doesn't do anything for you. It probably is more detrimental than it is helpful.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah.
I've had that website before. That's why I can say that.
Yeah. Well, you got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, if that's what you wanna call it. Cool. So, if somebody does wanna contact you, reach out to you, is LinkedIn the best place or is it somewhere else?
Yeah, I mean, I love LinkedIn. I actually think that everybody should be on it and they should be using it to connect with people. I mean, you connect with
100%.
somebody on LinkedIn, you can build a relationship with them over time,
Mhm.
and it may be a customer, it may not, but it may be a referral, it may not, but it's not going to hurt.
Yeah, I never seen the value in LinkedIn, especially whenever I was thinking about growing relationships with clients and stuff like that. I felt like Facebook and Instagram was where it was at. But the more connections that I make on LinkedIn, even if it's not with clients, with just professionals, but now I'm seeing more and more of my B2B clients. So any of my commercial clients, they're on
Hmm.
LinkedIn, and they're like, anytime we share something, they're who's commenting and sharing it, even if they share it over to Facebook,
Hmm.
which we simultaneously share to Facebook too. But I'm learning more about it. I think that the thing about LinkedIn is that I just didn't know enough about it to understand why it's important.
We've got a couple pretty good articles on LinkedIn selling just blog articles and guides in our blog as well. If anybody's interested in that, they could check that out. Again, a good way to get started, right? But yeah,
Hmm.
I'm happy to connect anywhere. We've got a fun Facebook page and Instagram page called Bored Tradesmen. It's BORED, like they're sitting in their truck playing on their phone, basically.
Uh-huh.
Um, but it's just memes and jokes and stuff too, and you can connect with us there. It's just a way to lighten your day and have a laugh.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that's always fun.
Sweet. So hopefully some people will reach out, and I'm super curious. I think that my only, with me personally, I think the only thing that I would kind of wonder about is, like, I use Service Titan already. Like, that's the CRM that I use. And so
Hmm.
some of the stuff's built in, but there's a lot of stuff that you have that Service Titan is I don't know how the best way to say this. It's almost too small for Service Titan, but
Yeah.
it's very important for startups. Anybody that's under, $1 million, like,
Hmm.
especially the service, the vendors, the closest vendor connection thing. I mean, that's gold right there. I mean, I like that. I mean, I think that every CRM is missing out for not having that. I mean, you're.
I appreciate that. It's that was kind of a low hanging fruit for
Mhm.
me. I mean, sitting, I was mainly commercial heating and air conditioning. I'd be up on a roof, and I'm in Canada, so in the middle of winter, I don't really want to be messing around on my phone
Yeah.
waiting for the sales rep at the supplier to check their inventory. And if he doesn't have it, I got to call the next one
Yeah.
and wait for him to find it if he has it. I wanted to send that one message out to all of them and say, hey, find this part and let me know if you have it, and then I can go back doing my job.
I mean, that's one of the biggest things with my guys, and they're on a roof, or if I'm, in a meeting or something, or if I'm recording a podcast, and they're saying, "Hey, I need this part," and then so they either have to sit on hold because they don't know the email address to the vendor, or
Hmm.
they could send an email, but they don't really know when they're going to get it back, or all that other stuff. So, and then
Hmm.
they have to individually send it out to all of the supply houses around. So,
Hmm.
um,
Well, hey, do yourself a favor and me a favor and tell your suppliers
I know that's
it's
what I'm
free
thinking.
to get on there and use.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. I'm gonna reach out to the TMs, when we get off of here, and tell them that they need to sign up for it.
Wow, that's great. I appreciate that.
Are you finding any of them saying, because I feel like this is something that's gonna be said to me, because I talk to a lot of people, and I go back to my vendors and tell them to carry this product, like, solder weld. Like, solder weld's a great product for brazing and soldering equipment, or lines. And so I went to my vendors, and they're like, "Oh, we have to jump through all these hoops in order to get it authorized, in order for us to be a vendor for them, and X, Y, and Z, because of corporate reasons." Are you seeing anybody say that, as far as vendors go, like TM saying that?
Yeah, I've gotten that from a couple of them, and then they generally, it's like downloading WhatsApp on your phone, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's, some people think, oh, I've got to get approval for this, and
Hmm.
then they go to get approval, and they're like, well, how much does it cost, or what is it? And they're like, well, nothing. All we got to do as a vendor,
Hmm.
it's put your business name in, put your address and your phone number in, and your contact email for the account, and it's like a Google My Business or something, right? Like
Hmm.
it's so then they see that and they're like, oh, okay, that's all it is, and then they sign up.
Is
So
this
yeah,
is this attached to Google at all? Like, I mean,
no.
not like you're in Google, but like, if somebody does a Google search, would they ever like see this any, like for vendors?
Hopefully, hopefully, eventually. I
Okay.
mean, we're still small, but I would assume at some point when we get large enough that when somebody searches for HVAC supply or HVAC wholesale,
Uh-huh.
that we may be one of those options that come up. Um, I don't think that's necessarily our goal. Where our hope is that people get this concept and they understand it's going to help them save time, and they just spread the word, because it's that network effect. The more suppliers on it, the better it is for the trades guys, and the more trades guys that are on it, the better it is for the suppliers. And then why bother going to Google?
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you found value in this episode, please share it with a friend. Obviously, podcasts, they don't cost you anything. So here's the fee. Share it with somebody. Share it with a friend. Share it with somebody you don't know. Just tell the world about how great this episode was. And don't forget to leave a review on whatever platform you're listening to this episode on. They're really awesome. I was reviewing some reviews just yesterday, and I'm blown away with the kind words that are being shared. Don't forget, if you ever need anything from me, reach out to me. My email address is tersh@icebound.us. I do my absolute very best to get back to you the same day. If you ever want to learn about the autoresponders, automating your life, feel free to send me an email. You'll get an autoresponder instantly. And I'm actually working on some other stuff too to help automate life and speed things up, so I don't have to memorize when to do things and store all that stuff in my mind. Anyways, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. Great information that I learned this past week at the CEO Warrior. With that being said, I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll talk again next week on the Service Business Mastery Podcast, the podcast focused on service business owners, managers, and technicians who are considering becoming business owners themselves. Have a great week.